Hello class, I'd like to give you your weekly update for November 12th through 18th. So I'm in the weekly modules here. I'll go ahead and click on this. This is a pretty important week because I've uploaded the final project and I want to take you through that. But first of all, directions for this week. I did post new tutorial videos, which I'll get to in a second. Posted the final project. You want to go ahead and fill out the course instructor evaluation for this class. You should be able to find that on the main homepage in Blackboard. There should be a link on that homepage, and then just start working on your final project basically. So course materials, tutorials, and book this week. I posted 3 new tutorials, which I'll show you in the tutorial movies link, but I posted one on flexible, also called fluid and responsive web layouts, with some example sites to go with that right here. So come back to this page for the example sites that I've mentioned in the tutorial. Also posted a lecture on content management systems like WordPress and also absolute positioning in Dreamweaver. I've talked about the AP division tags before, but I wanted to put that up again so that you know that that is an option for you. From your book, lessons 12, 13, and 14, if you haven't read those already, forms, online data, and dynamic sites. Not going to post specific tutorials on those, but if you get into problems with working through those, let me know. Okay, let's go over to the tutorial movies, and then we'll go to the final project. So here they are, the fluid grid layouts, AP div tags, and then the web content management systems. So those are 3 for you to watch. No example sites that I designed with those, but there are the example sites you'll find in the weekly modules. Okay, now the big update this week, if you go to your projects tab and then the final project, I'll take you through that. Also remember I posted last week that updated calendar for the end of the semester. So this week, this is the last full week before Thanksgiving break, and then that's just a short week, Monday and Tuesday. I'll post some new tutorials, but no other assignments. Well, I'll probably post a discussion board actually next week and some new tutorials, but your main assignment will be to work on this final project. Then when we come back from Thanksgiving break, you'll have 1 week or 1 week of classes before the project will be due during finals week. So this is the final, where 20% of your grade due on the end of the day, Monday, December 3rd. And late work will be penalized 5% per day on this final project. 2 parts to this final that will require you to build 2 separate websites. The first part, I want you to pick any company for this one. So I'm not giving you a specific type, just anything that you find interesting. It could be a local company, could be national, could be large or small, just any company that you would like to design a site for. They probably will have a website, so if you wanted to think of it in terms of redesigning a site, that's fine. Or if you wanted to approach it from scratch and pick a small company that does not have a website and design it, you could do that. If you have a friend, family, or you know someone that actually has a business that you could use as an example, of course, that would be great because you'd have someone to talk to. But if not, that's okay. You can pick out any company. So 6 total pages on this one. You decide what the pages are, the names, based on the company. It needs to be a complete site, meaning every page needs to have content, image and text on there. You need to have at least 3 division tags on every page, and that should be easy because your home page will be the basis of your design if you're going to design for usability, which you should. So once you design your home page, you can use that as the template for the other pages. 3 division tags. You must have a container. If you want to use the AP division tags, you can, although you probably won't want to after you watch the tutorial because they sit in a fixed position on the side of your screen. So you'll probably be using the division tags that most everyone uses, the ones that will center on your page, and then you can control the look of them. You want to use those tables to display your content and get those positioned correctly inside of that floating division tag. And you want to use the linked or external style sheet. You need to change the colors, borders, background, font of your design of your division tags. Needs to be usable and a consistent design. So title and logo on every page, menu on every page, and subtitles. And you need to use a CSS menu If that's a little confusing to you, just look back to the tutorials where I did the menu integrated into that Impala website. Has the rollovers. So lots of different options there for you with CSS menus. I think I provided some links also. So that's part 1. That's a whole complete website. Part 2 is same thing, just any topic you want. So this is another one where I wanted you to just do anything that interests you, but I don't want to have seen it before, and I want it to be a different CSS layout and design than part 1. That's a major requirement. It needs to be a whole different layout. Because you've probably figured out by now that my learning theory on web design is the more you design and the more you work through these tutorials and the book and everything and look at example sites, the better designer you will be. So that's why I always want you to continue starting these sites from scratch and build these layouts. So different layout for part 2, a topic I haven't seen. 5 pages for this one is fine. You decide what you want to name them. Complete website again, content filled in for every page. Same requirements, 3 division tags. Use the tables for your content, but not your design. External style sheet. Usability, consistency with your design, and a CSS menu. Other requirements, you can use Photoshop for your graphics. I'd say a lot of you probably will, or Fireworks if you would rather. Titles, graphics, image optimization, but you have to develop the actual design from scratch in Dreamweaver using that CSS layout. Meaning, I don't want you to design it in Photoshop and then use slices. I want you to think of it, come up with your design, and then fill in different pieces from Photoshop. If you need to. Obviously, you could do a mock-up in Photoshop. You could break that down and build it up as I've demonstrated in some of those tutorials. But you don't want to use something that you design in Photoshop and all you can do is slice it and then let Photoshop write the code for you. That's not what you want to do. You want to pay attention to color and design as I demonstrated in the tutorials. If you look back at the one on color theory, and then there's a couple that mention design, you want to incorporate some of that into your site. You need to think about those colors. And photos need to be a reasonable size. If I see any photo that's a couple megabytes and it looks like you haven't optimized or resized, then I take off points for that. And you have to save this in a correct structure format. You probably won't be uploading this one just because you might be using copyright material. If you're not, then you can obviously upload it. But probably most of you, what you're going to do is turn in a zip file for this. So here's what I want you to do. Create a folder called your name _ final project. In that folder, 2 more folders called part 1 and part 2, and those are your websites. So save your HTML files into those folders for each site, and then zip that main folder. So make sure you zip that main folder and attach it and then submit it by the deadline. Now it's extremely important, I can't stress enough, that you submit a functional working file, because sometimes what happens with this final project is you'll submit the final project, or students will submit the final project, and then I can't open it for whatever reason, and then I can't get a hold of you because that's it, the semester's over. So what you need to do is, once you zip that, make sure you zip that entire website folder that has the 2 separate parts in it, and then unzip it and test it yourself. Remember, if you're on a Windows machine, you have to extract all files. You can't just double click on it to access the files. You have to extract it. It won't work if you just double click on the zip file and try to open up files and look at the site that way. If you're on a Macintosh, when you double click on it, it automatically unpackages the folder for you. So that's really it for the final project. You've got about 3 weeks to work on that. Should be plenty of time. It is 2 complete websites, so it's kind of like 2 projects. Obviously, it's the final project, so it's going to be a little bit bigger. So you got plenty of time if you wanted to put together some mock-ups and start designing the site, and then send me the proof, what you've looked at so far, and you want any advice, I'll be glad to do that. But if you run into problems, let me know. Next couple weeks of class, I will be posting material for you next week during Thanksgiving, but Nothing really due. I'll post a discussion board, but I'll give you a couple weeks to work on that. So nothing will be due like the Sunday of after Thanksgiving, since it's a break. And then the next week I'll post some review tutorials, kind of highlighting some of the main things that I wanted you to focus on in this class. And that would be the last week of classes, and then the final project will be due. So that's it for the weekly update for November 12th through 18th, and let me know if you have any questions.